Luke, I know you to be so aggressive and such a fighter for our clients, and I'd like to talk a little bit more about your college career as a wrestler and soccer player, and you were recently inducted into the Hall of Fame. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so sports is always a big thing in my family and in our community, and obviously sports instill in kids a lot of different things with discipline, and wrestling specifically, if you're not aggressive, then you're not going to have much success. So that's carried over with the discipline, the aggression, the controlled aggression, and learning when you really need to put your foot on the gas and when you need to step back. That's influenced all sorts of parts of my life, including my legal career and really just everything in my life. So it's taught me to make sure that when we're representing our clients, we're doing it just like we would for something that was really important to us. If it was our family, if it was our friends, if it was our sport, our anything that mattered, how we would want it done for us, that's how I think it needs to be done for the clients as well.
So when we say aggressive, some people think that has a bad connotation, and one of the things that we always talk about our values is you can be aggressive without being a jerk.
Right. Being aggressive in litigation can be as simple as making sure that you're just hammering the other side with discovery. It can be holding them accountable when they're being obstructive. So aggression doesn't mean that you're being adversarial or rude or mean. It just means that you're really doing everything you can to be a fierce advocate and make sure you're advocating for your clients at no expense.
So you probably, in wrestling and other times in your life, you probably had to be fearless. And how does a fearless attitude and kind of a warrior attitude play into being a trial lawyer?
Sure. Look, oftentimes we're up against much deeper pockets than us, huge industries, huge insurance industries, medical industries, huge hospital systems with billions of dollars, and some of the best lawyers from around the country. And if you believe in your case, which you have to in order to file a medical malpractice case, then you have to be fearless to say, you know what, we'll be the David versus the Goliath.
Mm-hmm. That's right. What is that? Is it a poem, I think, that it talks about the man in the arena?
Yes.
Can you remember how it goes?
I think it might actually be a speech from Franklin Roosevelt. It could be a poem as well. I don't remember exactly what it is. I think I have it on one of my walls in my office at home, but it's a fantastic poem or story, and it's something that we all live our lives by when we're going to trial and being the man in the arena.
Yeah, I think the thing that resonates with me about that poem or whatever it is that it's the person who's willing to go into the arena and have the fight and be willing to get their nose bloodied. Mm-hmm. And I just always think of that.
Yeah, and that, as trial lawyers, if you are good at vetting your cases, sometimes it's hard to get to trial, and sometimes you have to be courageous enough to, tell your client, look, that's a decent settlement, but they're not being held fully accountable, and we're willing to go in there and take this fight knowing what the risk is.
Well, one of the things that I learned as a young lawyer is if you prepare to settle your case, then you're probably not going to get your case settled. But if you prepare your case for trial, odds are it will settle.
Right, and that's how you have to work up every single case, not just once you have pretrial coming up. It's from the moment you sign the case, from the moment you get your experts, to filing the case, to taking the depositions, to getting all the discovery. If you work it up like you're trying it, then you're going to have much better results than if you plan on settling it and then get stuck in a situation where you have to try it.
And that's right, and that's one of the things that separates glorified claims adjusters from trial lawyers, is because even at early stages of the case, we're thinking about how will this play at trial or what evidence is needed at trial.
And I always kind of like to think of it as there are some people that are litigators that might be able to try a case, but there are trial lawyers who plan on the case being tried, and you're litigating it up to trial, but trial lawyers have a different mindset than a litigator.
And the doctors in the hospitals and the lawyers that represent them know who are the trial lawyers versus who are the glorified claims adjusters, and they know who's who will be ready to go to trial and who will go to trial.
That's right. You know, you always learn your reputation is everything in this industry and in life, and having a reputation of being prepared, being ready to try any case, that doesn't fall on deaf ears. We
Right.
see the same attorneys, the same adjusters, the same hospital systems in almost every case, and they know who we are, and that's important, that we can make sure that that's the reputation that we have.
Right. So I want to put you on the spot a little bit, and something that I did not know about you, and you probably didn't know about me when we first met and began working together, is that we both had tragic losses of, for me it was my mother, for you it was both of your parents, and how that shaped both of us into the trial lawyers that we are today. And you know, when we go into the courtroom and we have to try to explain someone else's tragic loss, we don't check ourselves at the door, you know, we bring our own experiences into that. So do you mind talking about how that shaped you?
Yeah, not at all. I mean, you know, tragedy is one of the kind of common themes for a lot of very, very successful and you know, dedicated people. One thing is you get put in a situation where you have to figure it out. You have to pull yourself up, and that doesn't end when you turn 18. It carries through the rest of your life and every discipline you're in. And one of the things that I always draw on when I'm talking to a jury, you know, you can't, you know, violate the golden rule and say put yourself in their shoes. You can't put yourself into the case and say, let me tell you what happened to me. But you can draw on those experiences, that emotion, and think about the things that mattered to you at the time, and try to make sure that the jury hears those facts and those things that matter to an injured person, somebody that lost their family member in a wrongful death for medical malpractice, somebody that's catastrophically injured and their life has changed, what the day-to-day little things are that a jury might not be thinking of if they're not explained that part of it from the witnesses.
Right. And it's definitely not about us when we're representing a client, but it's kind of like that old saying, I've walked a mile in your moccasins. So we do understand the grief of a tragic and an unexpected loss that is so much different from a loss that's expected of an elderly, ailing parent or something like that.
Yeah, that's right. And even when it's not a wrongful death case, when it's somebody that has a loss of some enjoyment of their life, that's a loss that an everyday person might not understand if it's not brought out in front of them from the witnesses.
You know, one thing that I learned from my tragic loss is that tragedy doesn't discriminate. Like, no one is insulated, and it cuts across all races, religions, socioeconomic levels, political affiliations, and there's just a sense of randomness to it. And like the clients that we represent, none of our clients ever expected to become a victim of a catastrophic medical malpractice incident.
Yeah, that's right. You know, hospitals and healthcare providers are negligent at Parkland just the same as they are at Baylor Scott and White Medical Center downtown, or Medical City Dallas, or any of the huge conglomerate research and teaching facilities. You know, people make mistakes everywhere, and so it's not just the lower socioeconomic, although sometimes they're exposed to it more often because of the quality of care that they get.
And you know who else is not exempt from being victimized by a preventable medical error? Are nurses and doctors and people that work in the healthcare industry. And you and I have represented a number of those people, and I think they're always surprised to say, like, why me? Like, I would have thought I would have been the last person to be affected by this.
That's right, and sadly they're also the ones that oftentimes think something that isn't a case we can pursue, well gosh, that had to be negligence, right? Because they're used to thinking that doctors and hospitals are infallible, but when it happens to them, it's, wow, this is catastrophic. When it happens to everyday people in the community, it was a complication, it was a mistake.